fortunately, we were able to wrangle Gary Moore, whose Fridays are generally packed. And I think these days, his whole life has just completely gotten to one level of busy. And it's super, super exciting, you guys, because Gary's a good friend of mine, a fellow Panama vet. Gary, you've been here for what, 14 years in Panama?
14 years, yes, sir.
Originally from the north?
Yeah, Alberta, Canada, born and raised in Saskatchewan. I know there's a few Saskatchewan and Alberta folks that follow you pretty closely, so there's a lot of us down here now.
Oh
Full time.
yeah, no, for sure. I mean, a total expat success story. You know, Gary's has an engineering background, been doing some support for a big Fortune 500 for many years, among other things. But what I want to let people know about today is I can't tell you how excited I am about this. I've been hyping for the last couple of weeks, like we're going to get Gary Moore on Facebook Live. So now it's happening. Ladies and gentlemen, Gary Moore has been working on a seaplane project, and it is not an easy business to start. This is not an ice cream stand or a coffee shop or even a real estate company. This is Federal Aviation Authority, tourism, not to mention indigenous communities. But because of Gary's company, tourists can now get to some of the most exotic and amazing places of Panama. So first of all, Gary, high five from a friend for getting it done, man.
Patience and perseverance. You can see the bruise on my head from pounding my head against the brick wall for a number of years, but we got it done, and we got a lot of good support from the local aviation community, Aeronautica. They worked through COVID to help us go through all the process and nail everything down, and we got our airplane here. If you're driving by Albrook Airport, slow down and look up around right in front of Mapix. You'll see a big airplane on these big floats, blue and white. That's our machine, and we're out flying, doing some amazing, really cool, fun stuff. So we're excited to get her done.
Yes. Well, man, you're getting it done. I understand you guys have been already taking some flights with some of the tourism authority, some of the aviation, or like flying around government folks just to show them what's up. So where have you done a couple of your first destinations? And I know my surfers, my fishermen, and my really adventurous travelers are dying to know where they can now get to, and you guys, he's flying to places that hardly anybody has ever been, literally opening up whole sections of Panama because of this access. So sorry, Gary.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the more we fly and start getting to these destinations, the more amazing it is. I mean, there's so much out there in Panama. I mean, it just blows the rest of Central America completely out of the water. And really anywhere in the world, once you start to look at, I can get there now. I can do this now. So we're really enabling some really cool activities in the whole tourism area. So where have we been? Well, we've done Piñas Bay, Tropic Star Lodge. That's about a 45-minute flight out there. We land right in the water, right in front of the Tropic Star Resort. So people, we've quoted some trips where guys want to come down from the States and they only got 2 or 3 days and they want to do a day of marlin fishing, black marlin fishing. I mean, that's the place to go. That's where it all happens. So
world record, on a regular basis.
Absolutely. So leave here in the morning and you're fishing by 9 o'clock or so out on their 31-foot Bertrams. The nice thing about that Tropic Star is you're right there. I mean, you don't have to travel much of a distance to get to the fishing grounds. And I mean, even with their lodge and the work that Ursula's been doing there, they have, I mean, you can take the family out there. So dad and the boys go out fishing. The wife and the kids can stay at the lodge. They can do some tourism activities up at some of the villages. They all meet up and they're back home by 5 o'clock. So that's a pretty cool opportunity there. We've been checking out also to visit some of the indigenous communities in the Darien, specifically Mogi, which right now are a 2 or 3 day trip by the time you drive out there. So same thing. It's a half a day trip, 45 minutes flying. We land there. They come and pick you up in in a boat, in their boats, pangas, and they take you up the river to visit the village, back home again. We've done a couple of pretty interesting trips then to the Isla Perlas. We did a trip where there was a super yacht was parked down there, and the owners were going to they had to go back home for 2 or 3 weeks. So we flew down Sunday morning. We picked them up right at the yacht, which was anchored in an amazing bay just on the west side of Isla del Rey. We picked them up. They were back here at our hangar, Mapix hangar, where we operate out of, and they were in the VIP lounge. They did their COVID tests. Half an hour later, they were walking out, climbing onto their Citation X, and they were home in South Carolina for afternoon cocktails. I mean, and they were
Incredible.
incredible. Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't, the logistics of what he's providing you guys is like mind blowing because, for example, first I want to tell you about the Coiba angle, right? And then I want to talk about Escudo de Veraguas, which is a place I still haven't even been. We've tried to go a couple times, got washed out, turned around, went home. So let's talk about Coiba 3 months ago or 3 years ago. How do I get to Coiba? I'm going to have to get in my car. I'm going to have to drive for like 6 hours, probably get lost a couple times, get down to Santa Catalina, right? And then I got to deal with the logistic, probably stay the night, maybe not. Maybe my panga's there, right? So I get on a panga, I go out, I'm on the water, come back, stay at there's a couple nice hotels there. Maybe I stay out on a boat, but literally it's an odyssey getting out there. It's worth it. It's pretty, but Gary Moore and Elevair has got a package where, and I'm not a stakeholder in this. I'm not getting any promotion for this. I think it's so amazing that people are finally going to be able to get to these kind of places with a little bit less friction, little less travel. So Gary, talk to me about the Coiba package, for example.
Yeah, well, you nailed it. It's at least a 2-day, if not a 3-day trip. If people say, "Oh, I can drive to Santa Catalina in 5 hours," I mean, that's if the wind's behind them. There's no strikes. There's no construction. There's no traffic, etc. Again, no police. Then yeah, you're right. You stay overnight. It's an hour and a half at least to go on your panga out to the island. You snorkel and you come back again an hour and a half, and then you're back 5 o'clock. Do I stay overnight? Do I try and drive, etc.? So it's a chore, but it is a beautiful place. I mean, it's Panama's Galapagos. I mean, the same marine life that does the Galapagos, it's on the same chain. I would just really invite anybody that doesn't know much about Coiba to spend a half a day looking at some of the website information on it. I mean, the history of the prison, they have a unique species, everything. So yeah, what we've done there is we would leave here, Panama City, say 8 o'clock in the morning. By 9:30, you're in the water. We meet up with a really high-end tour guide that comes out with a boat, and you're doing your first snorkel trips by 9:30. Go to 2 or 3 places, have a nice lunch on a nice beach somewhere. A lot of people like to go back to the ranger station and go on a bit of a nature hike for maybe an hour, go for a swim, and then onto the seaplane, and you're back here by 4 or 5 o'clock.
Imagine. Yeah. And you said that's what, about $7,000 for 6 people?
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can go the backpacker route, and if you got a week to kill, and maybe you'll get in the water a couple more times. But if you want to just jet out there, man, I mean, talk about a killer day trip. So Chris had a question about San Blas. Now, Chris, before we answer that question, I want you to see a place that you've probably never seen. I definitely haven't seen it in person. It's called El Escudo de Veraguas. It's on the same coast. So, it's our sort of northern Caribbean Atlantic side, right? It's further west of San Blas. So let me see if I can pull up a video here. I've never shared my screen using this application, but here we go. All right, stand by. Gary, I'm going to hide you for a second just so we can get full screenage here. Hopefully you guys can see this killer video. get ready. 2 minutes of, there we are. Here we're going. So it's out near Bocas, el escudo de Veraguas. First, we're going to be in Bocas. Go ahead, Gary. Walk us through this. Yes. Look at that. Look at that. That is not photoshopped. That might be a little photoshopped, that image of the plane. Right on. Crazy.
Sustainable tourism to the community. And this will be a real big launch point for us to Escudo de Veraguas. But we'll have people that'll be putting kayaks there. It's going to be a super cool spot. Escudo is a
Magical.
very
It's
challenging place.
opening.
Yeah, it's
Go
opening
ahead.
up
Very
areas.
challenging.
Yeah, Escudo is very challenging in that it's an island in the middle of the ocean, and they get like last week, like 5-6 foot waves there. So it's going to be an area where come sort of September, October, November. That's the
Seasonal.
prime time. Yeah, exactly. About the same deal. It's about an hour to fly there so a day package from Panama City, about the same price range, but it's going to make that whole area accessible, and it's
Oh,
super
super
cool.
exciting. I
Yeah.
like just, I mean, it literally, this will single-handedly move the needle on Panama tourism. Like just a small company like this will open up areas. So I hope you have a fleet soon, Gary. Let's answer Chris's question if you don't mind. He was
Okay.
asking about San
Yeah,
Blas.
San Blas. So as it is of today, San Blas is still closed for international tourism. It's very restricted in domestic tourism opening up, which is one half of the equation. The other half is that we need to work with the Congreso, the Cunayala, to get permission to land there. It's something that's in progress. We've been working. We've had meetings with them. So I would think realistically, 3 or 4 months down the road, we'll open up San Blas. And the same thing. I mean, if you drive there now and get on a boat and go out to like Cayo Hollandeses, for example, that's what 4 hours each way
Yeah,
type of
each
a thing.
way. That's
Yeah,
not a fun day trip.
it'd be 40 minutes on the seaplane.
Love.
So
Yeah. Yeah. And, and could even be incorporated in some other little stops, right? I mean, maybe Isla Grande or whatever, Porvenir. I mean, there's so many, that whole coast it's accessible, but it's
yeah,
just inconvenient.
yeah.
It's doable, but when you can hop on a seaplane, well, let's do one more video because it looked like that video was working. I want to show Tropic Star. This is in the Darien. This is what Gary was mentioning. This is literally where many of the world fishing records are held for black marlin, sailfish. And it's a little pricey. It's a luxury fishing trip. But this makes it so much easier, just door to door. Where are you going to be leaving from in Panama City, by the way?
Yeah, so we're super stoked to be. We're based out of the Mapix FBO facility.
Right?
So what that gives us, it gives us street access, so people could take a taxi or their car or get dropped off right at the street. They have their own aviation security, so there's a guy there. So as soon as you walk in the door, he picks up the phone and he calls us, and we walk up to the front. We meet you. We walk
Wow.
you through the hangar to a very nice VIP lounge, so you can have a coffee, water, last bathroom break, and that's where we give our safety briefing, where it's nice and quiet. And then we basically just a 3-minute walk out to the ramp, climb up the stairs onto the seaplane, and an hour and 10 minutes later, you're landing in Isla
Somewhere
Coiba
exotic.
or somewhere exotic. Yeah, it's a
I mean, that's basically the longest flight, right? An hour and 10 minutes, you're almost to
yeah,
Costa Rica at that point.
yeah, damn right.
Or Bocas, right?
Yeah,
And wow, I love it. So let's do one more video. I want people to see this, and hopefully the last screen share wasn't too clunky. So here we go. All right. All right, this is the one to Tropic Star.
yeah, and invite everyone to. If you go to our website, which is flyelevair.com, just at the very top, there's a link you can click that'll take you to our YouTube channel, and there's 4 or so videos there with cool sound, which
Randy, getting it done. Oh, okay. That was a
yeah,
short one.
yeah. All the rest are like 45 seconds. Yeah, our idea
Cool.
is, what I'll be doing is pretty well. Every week we'll be pumping out a 45-second video using a lot of user submitted video and things like that, just to show people what Panama's all about once you get out of
Yeah,
the city.
man.
And man,
Ah,
we did I mean, it's not only Panama City, it's Bocas del Toro too, and we'll probably have an airplane based up in Bocas in the next 3 or 4 months. We did a trip last week. We took 6 people from Bocas to Coiba. So they were coming from the Caribbean. They went
yeah.
scuba diving. We've also done a sports fishing trip where we picked up a group from Bocas. We flew them into Isla Parida. Shane Jarvis's operation there. He had 2 boats waiting for us. We transferred them. They went out fishing. They caught 45 tuna. And they were back home in Bocas for afternoon cocktails. I mean,
Yeah, and sushi,
yeah,
sashimi. That's amazing. No, well, guys, Elevair, flyelevair.com. Gary is a good person and is getting a awesome business cranking. So, and it's happening. This is not in plans anymore. This is happening. So, Gary, anything else you wanted to add before we sign out here?
maybe just quickly some of the other. I mean, we've done some day trips to Isla Perlas, where we fly into a couple of really remote bays. People go
Yeah,
swimming, snorkeling, and then we arrange a gourmet beach lunch for them.
cool.
5-course beach lunch. You have Coiba, you have transfers to Isla Secas, Isla Palenque, which are smoking hot resorts that are busy
Yeah,
right now.
beautiful. Yep.
Fishing. Yeah, and I'm just excited to keep exploring. Next Thursday, we're going to do a trip. We're going to fly up along the Panama Canal, hang a left, go over Fort San Lorenzo, up the River Chagres, and then
Wow.
stop off in the River
What?
Chagres. I mean,
No
you're in the middle of
way.
the jungle. And then take off from there, go to Portobello, and either do lunch in Casa Congo or in El Otro Lado. After lunch, we'll then jump up and go over to Linton Bay and Roz's area. And in this case, we'll be going to the Istmo Zoo there, the private bird thing. And so, yeah, it's all there, man.
Man, wow. Talk about an anniversary present or something special to pop the question to your fiance. I mean, this is, these are experiences, and nobody else is doing it right now in Panama. These seaplanes. So Gary Moore is making it happen.
Yeah.
like a boss. So super
Yeah.
excited for you, Gary. It's good
Well,
for
thank you.
Panama. Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
I mean, this is
So
the only seaplane airline between Key West and Antarctica. I mean, there's no other Central America, South America. We're the first. So it's pretty
yes.
stoked.
Yes. Oh man. Well, super. So thanks so much, Gary. Great to see you. And yeah, looking forward to waving to you guys getting it done out there.
Yeah. We'll see you on the street.
Yes, sir. Take
Okay.
care.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye.